This is Clarence Hill, and welcome back to another edition of Cowboys Overtime. That's not Mac Ingle. That's NBC5's Newey Scruggs filling in for a vacation in Mac Ingle. Newey, how you doing? You're showing me up with this tie. You got this start shirt on. I'm seeing you're comfortable. You're at work. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for coming in to Cowboys Overtime that's sponsored by Window Nation.
Hey, good to be here. I've got to tape a TV special afterward. That's why I'm dressed like this. I got the jacket, and as soon as I get this done, I'm a bam head out here and finish taping this documentary we've been working on here for a few weeks. So pretty excited.
What's it about? Let's tease it.
Rube,
Let's talk about it.
it is about Rube Foster, and
Wow.
you and I were on that media tour.
Right.
Was it 2 years ago at Kansas City when we were covering the Cowboys? Bob
Right.
Kendrick took us around the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and I had no clue all the things Rube Foster did.
Wow.
Heard the name, but didn't know the depth of it, and then didn't know that he was a native Texan, and then to find out all the other great Texans that had played and been a part of the Negro League. So I wanted to do a special, and we had Bob here back in May, and you met Bob when he made the visit over to Globe Life Field, the Rangers game, and threw out the first pitch, and he was everything I wanted it to be. I've been chasing this thing down for 2 years, but it was so good we decided to do a 30-minute documentary on it.
That's awesome. Maybe another Katie. Do they still do Katie's? What do they call them now?
No, I don't know if they do. I prefer the Emmys. That's
Okay.
that's my thing.
Maybe
That's my
another
thing.
sports Emmys in the offing year with this special on Rube Foster. So coming. When will it air?
We're going to try and get this thing done Friday, so we'll see. Biggest thing is I got to tape my stuff today, and then we'll see exactly where this thing hits. But it was just, Clarence, the biggest thing I take away from this, I tell people, it's a story you don't know,
Right.
which is that he was, in the 1900s, a fantastic pitcher, the best pitcher in all of black baseball. He threw the fadeaway pitch. We now kind of call it the screwball. And, the last great screwball pitcher was Fernando Valenzuela because of the turk it puts on your arms. They don't have guys throw it. But Rube Foster was getting people out of the Negro Leagues with it, that John McGraw, who was the manager of the New York Giants, snuck him into camp as his pitching coach and taught that fadeaway pitch to Christy Mathewson, who was a below 500 pitcher at that time. Rube Foster started working with him. And of course, Christy Mathewson went on to win well over 300 games. It was a part of the first baseball class that was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And that was because of Rube Foster. Then Rube becomes the manager of the Giants. And then he ends up owning the Chicago American Giants. And then in 1920 decides that, you know what, we don't have uniformity. We got Negro League teams. We got people barnstorming. We don't have a league that has started a season and completed a full season. So we created the Negro National League in Kansas City, and thus we see what he started, and it was just amazing of what he did. We've never seen a guy who was so great at three levels of baseball as a player, manager, owner, and executive. It's just a fascinating story, and he's from Texas, from Calvert, Texas. It's pretty crazy.
So listeners, Rube Foster story coming to NBC5 sometime this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Please tune in, watch Newey Scruggs. Hey man, appreciate it, man. That was a great tease, great information. That's why I have you on. That's why you're the man. Come on here and give us some information, break some news, tease the story in NBC5. Well, I'm gonna stick with baseball team. I'm gonna jumble up our topics, since we don't have a slideshow, but this, you're talking about Rube Foster, certainly the Negro League baseball, when the throes of baseball season, the All-Star game is coming up. Rangers have all these guys going to the All-Star game. But are they backing up? Are the Rangers backing up? The first place Rangers, who had the best record in franchise history through 60 games, I think it was 40-20. But, they've struggled over the last month. And certainly it seemed like the Astros are coming. They just lost 3 or 4 to the Astros. Will this season end in disappointment for the Rangers?
To me, and I go back to when Bruce Bochy was introduced and I was there at the press conference in Arlington. You got a Hall of Fame manager, and this is where you trust the Hall of Fame manager. I do believe they've got a good GM in Chris Young. They probably need to add another bullpen piece, as you saw that game against the Astros where they're up 10. They're down. The Rangers are down 10-2. They climb the mountain and take the lead 11-10 in the 8th inning, and they bring out the closer, and Smith blows the close, and they end up losing 12-10. So maybe they need to add another piece. They've already added Aroldis Chapman, but that clearly is the issue with this team is the bullpen. Fix that. And Bochy has shown you he's masterful at bullpens work, winning 3 championships with the Giants. So to answer your question, have some faith, trust in the manager. You've got 6 all-stars for a reason. Fix this bullpen, and I like where they can go.
Have some faith. Are you telling me the man who's covered the Cowboys since 1996, seen 4 playoff wins, seen all this promise, man who's been in DFW since 1994 and watched the Rangers go to the World Series and give it away. And to have faith now, to have faith in a DFW sports team?
Well, once again, what did I say? Look at the manager, okay? Bruce Bochy's a 3-time World Series winning manager. In fact, we saw it in 2010. That is, to me, the difference in where I think you can go is you need coaching matters, okay? And you of all people, between covering all those coaches with the Cowboys, you well understand it matters. And managing matters in baseball. It's such a long season. I like what Bruce said after they ended up losing that game 11-10. He's like, what a fantastic effort. We got to put this behind us. We got another game tomorrow. And they had to fly after that game up to Boston, and they go win that game the next day against the Red Sox. That's what you do. That's what managing is about. And I go back to Ron Washington, who I think was very underrated by fans in this market, the all-time winningest Rangers manager. Ron made a difference. If we haven't seen somebody that good since Ron in town, you've got that. And to me, that's where you put your trust. He puts guys in a great position. Think of where this club is now, having lost your number 1 pitcher, Jacob deGrom, and then you lost another starter, Jake Odorizzi. You're down 2 guys there, and they're still plugging along. They're still in first place, by the way. You're not claiming they're still in first place.
I'm just asking. Listen. I know you have your coaching pet cats. And from the Gary Patterson to who's the new TCU coach now?
Don't act like you don't have some clients out there.
Don't act like
you got no clients out there.
So tell me, Bruce Bochy, that's one of your guys now. He's one of your guys.
Hey man, Bochy's family's from North Carolina, so we sat down there, we chatted. His mom not too far from Fayetteville, from Dreamville. But once again, Clay, I can say that, but I've got proof. Okay, at the end of the day, as long as you got proof, the man's got 3 World Series titles.
That's what's up.
You talk about Gary Patterson, this man's going to the College Football Hall of Fame. Okay, took a team that was wandering out west in the WAC, put them in the Big 12. Okay, listen, my people are good. Okay, I stand by my people. Okay,
I just want to make sure what we're doing here. So, as we leave baseball and get back to football, this is Cowboys Overtime. Get back to little football. It's just this dead time between the end of minicamp and Cowboys training camp. Is Mike McCarthy one of you guys? Does he have that trust? Should we trust Mike McCarthy? You want to trust Bruce Bochy? Mike McCarthy got a title. I mean, did we forget that? Do we trust Mike McCarthy?
It's complicated.
Complicated.
I came out the gate on with Mike. I was down with Mike. Then he brought in Mike Nolan. Then he rebounded. He rebounded here.
Okay.
I have a great appreciation of Mike McCarthy. What is he, 20 in the top 20 all time in wins in the National Football League?
Top 10. Yeah, he's somewhere like that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean it's impressive. It's an impressive number that while, and you've written about this too over the Star Telegram, how we praise Sean Payton. We talk about how great Sean Payton is, but then you start adding up the numbers of Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy. They're very similar in terms of how many wins. Got the same number of titles. It's just Sean's done a better job of marketing himself and being connected to the media, which so many times is a part of being able to put your story out there. What Mike McCarthy's done the last 2 years here has truly been remarkable because we hadn't seen it since Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson were coaching around here when they had that team of the 90s. So to have 2 back-to-back 12-win seasons, to have your owner out here doing Jerry type things, setting the place on fire at times like he did last year when we were there. He finished the press conference that he talked about, with Cooper Rush from the Eagles game. Wouldn't it be great if we were sitting up here talking about a quarterback controversy? What are you doing? What are you doing? So Mike McCarthy's got to go down here and tell Dak, don't worry about it. Don't listen to this dude. We're good. Cooper Rush go play the game. I think Mike has done a very good job of handling it's not always just about football. It comes with a circus. So to answer your question, I do respect a lot of what Mike McCarthy has done. This is a hard job, and no, he doesn't have the cachet of a Bruce Bochy because you won 3 World Series titles and you've gone to the World Series 4 times with 2 different organizations. It just puts you in a different stratosphere as far as Bochy is. He quits tomorrow, he's going to Cooperstown. If Mike McCarthy quits tomorrow, I can't sit here and say that they're going to put him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Okay, that's fair enough. I will go with that. Now, Cowboys getting ready for training camp. Again, it's a dead time. I don't know if you got your flights and everything done, but what remaining question do you have about this team heading into camp? I know they still need a kicker. We still don't know if Tony Pollard's going to get an extension. He's going to sign to stick on his franchise tag. Are they going to get extensions for Dak and CD and Diggs? All of those are things they would want to do or thinking about doing before the start of camp. What are the biggest questions you have about this team heading into camp?
Can Dak Prescott get back to playing without the massive interceptions? We saw him lead the league last year. This is a quarterback league. You need number 4 to continue to get better, and you need him to cut down on his mistakes. Does Brandon Cooks come in here and help them solidify the role at wide receiver? We know CeeDee Lamb has turned himself into a Pro Bowl player. Can Brandon Cooks stay healthy, which has been an issue he's had, and be a legitimate target? And then, oh, by the way, can Michael Gallup get back to being the guy they decided to pay? The wide receiving core was bad last year, and I think that was a part of the problem for the Cowboys, and also some of the offensive line struggles that they had. But number 4, we look to him to be better, and I think if the cast around him is better, then he can be better. I kind of look at the Jalen Hurts situation in Philadelphia, and I tell people the best thing they did was surround him with more weapons to help make his job easier. Dak Prescott's job wasn't easy. You were beating the horn at training camp when you told him day one, hey, this receiving core is not it. So your hope now is that they fix that in a quarterback league, that these receivers can go make plays.
Yeah, I mean, you took the word out of my mouth. I mean, yes, Dak needs to be better, but certainly he needs help to be better. The offensive line was trash last year. People don't want to say it, but Dak, the fact that he had so few sacks was more a testament of what Dak was doing in the pocket than the blocking. Look at the blocking number; they were one of the worst offensive lines in football last year, and then couple that with the receiving core that I said week in and week out was one of the worst in the league. Every Sunday the other team had a better receiving core. That was outside of CeeDee Lamb was a bunch of numbers. Me and you out there catching passes, and certainly that played a role in Dak's problems, certainly Dak's interceptions. Going to take a quick break. Windows Nation, let's hear from them.
Window Nation, the star of window replacement and proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, can help you fill the house this season with savings. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and make no payments and pay no interest until 2025. Fill your house for a customized authentic Dallas Cowboys jersey while supplies last. You could even help fill the Cowboys house and win tickets to a game. Visit windownation.com/Cowboys now for details. Call 866-95-NATION. Window Nation, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Real quickly, over the weekend, Michael Parsons was at this white party at the what's that place? It was with Tom Brady and Beyonce in the Hamptons, right? I couldn't even think of it. I can't afford to go to the Hamptons. I know if you were, invited to the white party, what do you need to be invited to? What do you need to have to get invited to a party like that? I mean, it was a who's who of holiday parties, and Michael Parsons was right there. With Tom Brady and Beyonce and Jay-Z. Dez was there, and a lot of big-time stars were there.
Clearly, you need cachet. You need some Pro Bowls. You need to be a name. And I'm glad to see Michael Parsons was there without wearing somebody else's jersey from the Sixers or, whoever else jerseys, Celtics, all the stuff he's out here wearing. Michael Parsons is living his best life. Yes. And good for him. But along the way, where you want to hang out with the Jay-Z's and the Tom Brady's, these guys are recognized as legends in what they do. And Michael Parsons has some more work. So if you want to hang out with those legends, gain the tips and figure out, how can you get to their level, go ahead. I'm with it all day long. Hang out with winners, hang out with people who have achieved greatness, and maybe you can fall in line with that. It is ironic. And when I saw the picture. I can't remember who had it, but I tweeted out there, Michael retired Tom. Let's not forget that.
He did retire Tom. Is he the biggest star on the Cowboys now? Michael
He's the
Parsons?
most legitimate star they have. And when you just talk about, Dak's got he's got the name, he's got the commercials, but when you just talk about pure talent, if you're going out here saying, who's your blue chip player, Michael Parsons is the blue chip player that they have on this football team.
Speaking of blue chips, the Mavericks made a little noise. It's the NBA offseason. I think the NBA offseason is sometimes better than the regular season, better than the playoffs, because it's about who's going and who's coming and what are teams going to do. And the big question for the Mavericks for much of the offseason, even actually during the season, was, can they keep Kyrie Irving? Can they keep Kyrie Irving? I think they had a solid draft. You can talk about the draft if you want to. I think they did a good job on draft night. They certainly snookered the Knicks with how they, tanked for that pick to keep that pick, and then they traded back, and it has all the Knicks fans all up in arms and how they kind of finesse that situation. But the ability to keep Kyrie Irving, keep him in the fold with Luka Doncic. What do you think about that? And is this the foundation that's going to get the Mavericks back to competing for titles?
Well, let's go back to what this all is. This is the Jalen Brunson cleanup. Okay, this is all this is. Mark Cuban did not do his job in retaining Jalen Brunson. This is something that they could have done years ago. They did not do it. And so they've been trying to play catch up ever since. You make the trade with Kyrie Irving for the time you traded for him. The goal was to re-sign him, much in the same way when they went out and they made that trade for Kristaps Porzingis. They knew that summer they had to retain the player. Now, how they retained him 3 years, the player options of year 3, he's making $42 million. His deal lines up with Luka Doncic. I have no issue with it. I know some people like Ryan McDonough, the former GM of the Phoenix Suns, was ripping the team, saying, "Why did you pay him this money? He's never happy." And you bid against yourself. You didn't have to give him that. Well, the Mavericks could have said, Kyrie Irving, here's $30 million. Nobody else is going to offer you $30 million. Take it. But that's not how the league works. That's not how you do business. You're going to eventually want to do business later on. Again, players are looking at what you do. So if you decide, hey, Kyrie Irving, you take this $30 million, you come in here and you act like you like it, I just don't think that's the way they wanted to go about it. They gave Kyrie Irving a deal that is consummate to who he is. He's an all-star player. He made the all-star team last year. He is – Clarence, you and I saw the games. It was something else to see it in person versus seeing it on TV.
No doubt. No,
this dude can play. The guys in the room like him. So I think Mark went out of his way, similar to what Jerry Jones tried to do with Terrell Owens and saying, look, here's your money, okay? Come here and do your part. And if you're Kyrie Irving, you got to understand there's not too many more stops in the desert after the Dallas Mavericks. You need to make this work. And eventually, if you want to get paid again and get another bite of the apple, you need to spend 3 years here as a winning player and a player that can get along with Luka Doncic and try to get yourself a second ring as an NBA player.
And it's twofold for the Mavericks because this is the first time an outside free agent, quote unquote, outside free agent signed with the Mavericks. I mean, they've had trouble signing big name free agents to come and to a long-term deal with the Mavericks. And they, for them to get Kyrie Irving, regardless he was bidding against himself, I know they were talking about him going to LA and some different teams, and he was supposed to meet with Phoenix. I don't know how they could have ever made that work with all
that. Was all smoke screen.
All that stuff that they were talking about. But to get him to stay, even if you had to overpay, it's important, not just for now, but for in the future, because that if it works out with Kyrie, other guys will want to come.
For all the Jason Kidd detractors out there,
yeah,
they're not giving him enough credit for what transpired here. Look, bottom line is great black players were not coming here.
Exactly.
We got over a decade worth of proof. Great black players like, nah, not Dallas. Jason Kidd is a guy who has trust. Jason Kidd for years, you look at Kobe Bryant, LeBron James playing on those Olympic teams here. Jason always had respect. He's also a player that won a championship here. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic trust Jason Kidd. Forget what the outside guys say. The people inside are out here trusting in Jason Kidd. I thought Jason did a great job at how he went about his business for Jalen Brunson and for Kyrie Irving to allow them to have the space and to make the best decisions for them and treat them accordingly. One thing that's not even talked about to me enough of is you draft Derek Lively at 10. Kidd talked about how much they needed some help as a rim protection there. Who do we see in Mavericks camp days later, at rookie camp? We see Tyson Chandler right there. the guy that he said he has similar traits to, immediately saying, hey, we need you here. That happens because Jason Kidd is the coach and is a former player with Tyson Chandler. That's what you need. You need people who can sit around here, connect the pass, and have a bar set for young Derek Lively to say, this is who we think you can be. Here he is. Learn from him. Much in the same way, Clarence, you and I had that ability to watch Tyron Smith learn from DeMarcus Ware and how he went about his business. And I think all day long that helped him in terms of trying to be a better player. And I look at a guy like Micah Parsons, how he was out here working with a guy like Tyron Smith and Tank Lawrence. I think it matters to have good players show other players this is how you need to go about your business.
Well, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, we know you trust Bochy, you know. Do you trust Jason Kidd? Sound like you trust Jason Kidd.
I think Jason Kidd is the right guy for the job. I think that Nico Harrison is showing what he did as a general manager. He's the right guy for the job. It's like you have a coach who takes you to the Western Conference Finals, and it was unexpected. To win a Game 7 in Phoenix. Right. People forgot all that. They want to fire the guy the next year when they had roster problems. They had roster construction last year, and Luka Doncic wanted to see something. And they ended up doing something, and then it didn't work. But you see, Kidd from the jump, I remember the media day, he told me, he said, we need to tap down these expectations. I mean, Jason was really from the jump like, in so many words, he was like, it's going to be hard to do what we did last year. And he proved right. This is a flawed basketball team, and they're trying to fix it. I just don't think that going and finding another head coach is going to be the answer. I'd love to see if he can pull in Jeff Van Gundy and get him on the staff. Good coaches have good staff around him. I mean, Rick Carlisle ended up having Dwayne Casey, who went on to become a coach of the year in Toronto. Ended up having Terry Stotts on that championship team, and Terry had a great run in Portland. People forget that good coaches have people around them who help them very much. And Larry Bird had Rick Carlisle, and he had Dick Harder on that Pacers team that ended up in the finals. So getting Jason Kidd some help, and I think that would not be a bad thing at all. But I don't hate the coach and want to throw him overboard the way so many fans want to.
Okay. Final topic here. I know you got to get out, but one of topic that you and I go back and forth off the air all the time is this TCU Sonny. I know you trust Sonny Dykes, okay? I know you trust Sonny Dykes. I mean, Gary Patterson is going to always be in the family, but now that you are, and I want to say congratulations, tell the world congratulations, news, because we got his MBA from TCU. He's a proud TCU grad, so he has a right to suck up the TCU these days. He's a horned toad. He's a horned frog. Congratulations on getting an NBA during football season. That's a hell of an accomplishment. What you do it, while you're working a full-time job, get the NBA. So congratulations on that. But Sark is coming. Last year in the Big 12, Sark and Texas have the best quarterback in the Big 12. They're coming. But why is TCU? Why are they built to last?
Look, I had to do my Big 12 vote recently. I did not pick TCU to win the conference, which, by the way, they did not win the conference last year. They ended up losing that Big 12 championship game to Kansas State at Jerry World here. One thing that he's done a good job of, and I'm looking at Sonny Dykes here, is he's learned how to work the portal. And let's just be honest, at the end of the day, when these five-star kids come out here, they're picking schools like Texas, LSU, Alabama, and A&M. They're picking the schools who also are able to offer them a lot of NIL money. TCU is going to win more of the 3- and 4-star guys, but a lot of what they're going to do is get guys on the bounce back. You look at a JoJo Earl, who went out there to Alabama from Alito, fantastic player, went to Alabama, and he ended up saying in the spring, I had people tell me, kind of lead me toward Alabama. I wanted to come to TCU, but they were basically saying, you need to be here at Alabama. And now he's back home. If you're Sonny Dykes, there's just so much talent in Texas, and the way the portal works here, just recruit the guys, be able to get the guys you can on the bounce back. And he's done that this offseason here. But look, at the end of the day, there's a reason why the name brand schools are going to get them. Sonny has a self-confidence. He also is okay in Fort Worth Some people would want to get bigger, but Sonny is fine right here. And I think he's created an atmosphere that kids feel like, hey, look, we can come here and we can win. And as far as Texas goes, TCU's record in the Big 12 against Texas is a winning record. So though this is going to be the last year they face each other as conference foes, TCU can know that they came into the conference and they gave Texas their best and they left with it. Steve Sarkisian is a fantastic offensive mind. I worry about them defensively. I don't know if you know or not, but they lost a pretty good defensive analyst off that Longhorn staff from last year. And if he does not end up in Arlington, the Big 12 championship game, people are going to be upset. They're going to be upset. Sark is got to show that he can be a complete head coach, not just a play caller. Clarence, how many times have we seen these guys are good play callers, but they're not good overall head coaches? He's got to figure out how to do that. I can't tell you that I can trust Steve Sarkisian because I've never seen it. I go back to what Bill Parcells always said. All I can go by is what I see. Sark is a coach who's going to lose some games that he should win year in, year out.
Well, first time on Cowboys Overtime, you won the show. No one's ever talked more than me, okay? I just wanted to know. Mac don't talk more than me, okay? You talk more than me. Listen, I wound you up. And you did with your job. I certainly appreciate it. Tucker appreciates it. What are you doing to beat this heat before we go to camp? I mean, you got this suit on. What are you doing? This is. I don't remember being this hot, and I'm sure it's been this hot before. But what are you doing to beat the heat?
I was in Colorado last week, so I was up there in Boulder, and actually went to the Buffs practice here. So that's what I did. I did that. So I was chilling there last week, but I won't beat it this week.
Are you teasing something with Dion?
No, I did not see Prime. My daughter wanted to go see the campus.
Okay.
She wanted to go attend. And so I went up there and checked out a practice. Dennis Thurman had arranged a practice for me. And Kevin Mathis, former Cowboys.
Right.
Those guys are on Dion's staff. And lo and behold, come to find out, the person I had to meet, AB, is a member of Omega Psi-Phi. It was just the staff is loaded with Qs up there. So it was good. It was their last practice before they ended up heading out for their break, and they'll come back in August. But great campus, a lot of buzz about the Big 12 and whether or not Colorado will go there. The best rec center I've ever seen. I mean, I've never seen a rec center like this. They have a buffalo-shaped pool, and the buffalo tail is a spa. They've got an ice skating rink in this rec center. They've got a rock climbing wall. They've got indoor soccer fields. They've got basketball courts. I mean, it's like, hey, told my kid, why don't you just come inside, come hang out at the rec? It's like you gained 15, that freshman 15 to Colorado. You just didn't visit the rec because that thing is loaded up, man.
Nu's a proud girl dad like I am. So your daughter, are we committed to Colorado?
No, I'm off to LSU later on today. So I still need to get my daughter with your daughter, who got all those full ride scholarships, so she can sit around here and give my daughter the secret sauce, so I don't have to pay any money. That's the goal.
Yeah, that is the goal. That is the goal. That mission accomplished.
Exactly. Free school, please.
Mission accomplished. But hey, man, I appreciate it. You joining us on Cowboys Overtime. Hopefully, Matt will be back next week. If not, we'll have another mystery guest. I don't know if anybody can fill in the shoes of the great Louis Scruggs of NBC5. And remember, watch the Ruth Foster story on NBC5 coming this weekend. Thank you, guys.